Hello and welcome to This Week in the Garden. For this week's episode, we're going to go over a garden vacation checklist. It's that time of the year where we're starting to go on vacation and our gardens are really just starting to fruit and get really big. And so I'm putting together kind of a checklist of things to go over before you leave, and that way you're ready to go. If you're anything like me, you have kind of a checklist of things that need to be done before you can relax, before you can go on vacation. And so that's what this video is going to be about. Now, the first thing that you should do is make sure that you go and take out the weeds. This time of the year, our weeds are getting huge in our gardens. And so it's going to be hard to get rid of every single weed. I understand that. But you want to make sure you get rid of the big ones, the ones that are about ready to have their seeds, because that's going to plant your garden with weeds. So you want to make sure you get rid of the big weeds, especially near your plants. If they're around the base of your plants, that's an area that insects can live. So you want to get rid of those weeds. Just be careful when you pull them out. If the ground's a little wet, you might end up pulling up your vegetables as well. Now, the second thing that you have to do is go throughout your garden and search for insect pests. Your insect pests, at least in my garden, are things like stink bugs and squash bugs and even cucumber beetles. Those are the big ones in my garden. And if you can get rid of them, you should be good for about a week if you go on vacation. Most things take about that long to lay their eggs, hatch from the eggs, and then emerge and start to feed. So you have about a week buffer for your insect pests. The third thing on the checklist is to remove any diseased plants or any diseased leaves. And that means just going through pruning anything that's kind of yellow and dying. In my garden, that means getting rid of my zucchini. They've kind of run their course. They're starting to get squash, vine borer, and they're going to be a habitat for things like powdery mildew and downy mildew if I leave them in my garden. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those before vacation. That way I don't have any disease. You can also go through and prune some of your vegetables. Anything that has leaves that are getting shaded or are close to the ground are going to be habitats for a disease. So you want to make sure that you get rid of that disease trifecta. Get rid of your weeds, get rid of insects, and get rid of places for disease to grow. After that, the next thing that you should do in your garden is harvest vegetables. So bring some things with you on vacation. Some things that travel well are tomatoes. You can pick them when they just start to turn orange. That's really a fine time, and we've got some information on that, but they'll ripen on the counter just fine if you do that, and that way you don't have a lot of rotten vegetables in your garden. You can take those with you on vacation if you like. In last week's episode, we talked a little bit about harvesting and making sure that you get the most storage life out of your vegetables, and so now is a good time to pick some things early. If you've got a lot of squash and cucumbers like me, I've got the cucumbers behind me here, they grow really quickly, and so what I plan to do when I go on vacation is actually pick off some of the blossoms. I don't want to come back and have a squash that weighs 15 pounds, so I'm going to pick off some blossoms. That'll allow the plants to focus their energy on the leaves and the roots, and hopefully when I come back I'll have a lot of fresh blossoms and not a huge zucchini. Now, the last thing on our checklist is going to be watering your garden. If you've done a good job maintaining your garden, you shouldn't need to water unless we have a week that has no rain and high temperatures. Now, if we do have that when you're going on vacation, what you want to do is give your plants a good thorough soaking the day before or the morning of your vacation. Just come out and make sure that you're watering only the roots. You don't want to water the leaves because you'll spread disease if you do that. But make sure that you're coming out and watering your plants if you need to, depending on the forecast. But that's just kind of a quick run through of our garden checklist. I've got a PDF, so you can print this out if you want, put it on your fridge and check off things before you go on vacation. But if not, that's all we have for this week's episode from This Week of the Garden. Make sure that you stay tuned, and if you have any good recipes, send those in to me. I'll be working on putting together a cookbook for everyone. But like I said, that's all we have for this time from This Week in the Garden.